The Vive at Vive is sponsored video content brought to you by MedCity News.
Hello and welcome to the Vibe at Vive. I'm Marissa Plesha, reporter for MedCity News. I'm very happy to be here with Jason Bornhorst, CEO and co-founder of First Dollar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
So you're a company that provides infrastructure for health spending benefits. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Yep. So think of us as Stripe for everything in healthcare spending benefits land. So that's post-tax accounts, pre-tax accounts, things like HSAs, FSAs, HRAs, et cetera. Companies hire us to do all the messy compliance and record keeping and card fulfillment and all the stuff behind these benefits. That's what First Dollar does.
Yeah, and you work with a variety of customers. Can you tell us a little bit about those customers and the biggest challenges that they're facing and how you're solving for those?
We do. So what's interesting about First Dollar, so while ultimately employees and employers are the end users of the benefits, we actually don't work directly with employers. Our customers are people like banks, TPAs, payroll companies, folks who are distributing these benefits down. And so they'll hire us at First Dollar, we'll power the infrastructure, and they take it down. Problems in this space are essentially twofold and they're highly related. The first is one you and I can relate to. You know, we've all been given an HSA or an FSA or an HRA that is honestly like extraordinarily confusing, and it's not uncommon to see half of FSA balances be forfeited every year because people don't understand them, they don't know how to use them, they forget about them, et cetera, et cetera. That's problem number one, is consumers never use these things. Problem number two is the other side of that equation, highly related. So the people that provide these benefits, their world is just as challenging. So they have tons of humans doing administration, manual processing of claims, manual processing of enrollment and funding files, and the list goes on and on and on. And the reason for this is if you actually look at the software in this space, it's 2 decades old and hasn't changed in almost as long. And so the goal of First Dollar is to try to fix those problems by rethinking it in a modern way.
Yeah, and how do you differ from legacy tech solutions that already exist today?
Definitely. So when you talk to First Dollar partners, I would say the 2 words you most commonly hear are flexible and easy. You know, our goal is to rethink benefits with modern software so we can take as much complexity and humans out of the loop as possible. So whether that's a full set of APIs, whether it's written in multiple languages, embedded education, software that's just easy to use, all these things roll together to make benefits that are so easy they almost become invisible. In fact, our long-term orientation on the space is, I think if we're successful, not only will First Dollar be powering a third to half of benefits in the country in the next 5 to 7 years, but for many of those users, they may not even know an HSA, FSA, or HRA are there. They'll just simply be given a card, they'll swipe it to buy healthcare, and be on their way. That's our goal, to make them completely invisible for both the users and the administrators that provide them.
Yeah, that's great. And how are you making sure that these benefits are accessible to a wide array of people?
Yep, so let's first state the problem. They're absolutely not accessible today. There's almost 100 million Americans that carry these things around. If you actually sit down and talk to most Americans, they couldn't tell you the first thing about how to use an HSA, and that's for a couple reasons. They're hard to use. They're not written in people's language. Actually, most of the providers in this space, it's all English only. And so at First Dollar, we do things like try really hard to boost utilization. We often see about a 40% improvement compared to the baseline. First Dollar is written in multiple languages. That's everything from the app to the card carrier to the embedded education. And all this works together to have benefits that people use at a much higher level. And this is important because at the end of the day, what's in these accounts? Well, it's money for people to buy healthcare that they're seeking. And so we're very interested in the access problem. How can I make these things easy to use and in every single person's wallet so they can ultimately afford healthcare? That's the core of what we're working on.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Marissa. Appreciate it.